We're gonna be reading romance books this whole week. I'm a fantasy girly, I always talk about this, but I've been buying so many romance novels lately that I feel like I need to read them because they're just like stacking up. So I'm gonna dedicate this whole week to reading only romance novels. Before we get into the video, I want you guys to know that I do have a book club. I am so excited. I am so excited about this book club. This book club is on Patreon. In this book club, you'll have the chance to like literally talk directly to me through video chat, voice chat, chatting in general. I have a Discord connected to the book club. With the book club, we're gonna be reading one book. I'll still talk about it in my monthly wrap-ups, but basically the book club is gonna pick the book that we all read. I'm gonna be doing a lot of like community chat updates, like talking about where we are in the book, buddy reading. I'm gonna be doing some readathon challenges where we can all get on live and have a readathon together, meaning that we just like read for an hour together and we can talk in real time. And like I just love that because there are so many of you guys that I'm like meeting through chat from YouTube, and imagine if we were able to like talk to each other. So that is the vibe of the book club. If you're interested in the book club, I'll leave it linked below. You can join for free, you can leave at any time, like there's no commitment to you, but there are different tiers that include different features if you want more access to the book club features. So we're gonna start going live with the book club in August. I already set it up, so it's already ready. If you're interested in joining the book club with me, then be sure to check out the link in the description box, and I will see you in the book club. Let's chat, let's meet our like-minded people. I'm so excited. So if you are excited too, then join the book club. All right, let's get into the video. So the first book I read was This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I DNF'd that book. I got like, I want to say 100 or so pages into it. But then I had to DNF it because it was so boring. I was like, what? Why is this book so boring? I felt bad because like, I've heard nothing but good things about Carly Fortune. Oh, by the way, I have some lemons and blueberries for breakfast, celery. Anyway, spinach. I had to DNF that book because it was so boring. Like I started reading that book when I was on my way to home, like to New Orleans to visit my family. I read that book in the airport, on the flight. I even read it a little bit while I was there. Like I went to Barnes & Noble, tried to read it. Girl, I was like, this book is so boring. It kept talking about the same things over and over and over. Yeah, I DNF'd that book. Let me tell you what it was about. First of all, it's about how this girl, Bananas, is best friends with this other girl. She went to Prince Edward Island to meet up with her friend, but she got there before her friend did. Her friend is from the island. But anyway, she gets there before the friend. She goes to this like oyster shack and she meets a guy. Girl, first of all, she ends up going home with that guy immediately. Like, ain't no way that would be realistic, you know? Cause like, well, I mean, you do you, but I don't know any person personally who will go to a restaurant, think, oh man, that dude who is shucking oysters is so cute, and then go home with them. Like you're in a whole different place and you just met this dude like 2 seconds ago. You go home with him. Anyway, she goes home with him. Girl, my dad would have been so disappointed in me. She goes home with him and she, you know, she ends up doing things with him. Come to find out, that dude was her best friend's brother. So at least he wasn't like a murderer, right? Okay, cool. But he ends up being her best friend's brother. Eat your weight in oysters, have fun, don't think about the city, and don't fall in love with my brother. That was her only 3 rules. So she already broke rule number 1. Or rule number 3, whatever, you know. Already broke the rule. But like, so, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, she didn't tell Bridget that she slept with her brother, basically. Fast forward, because like, he was jumping back and forth between like years. Like, that was 4 years ago. Now, I don't know. Anyway, fast forward a few years later, Bridget's about to get married. But a week before her wedding, I think, she runs off to Prince Edward Island. And then she's like, come with me. Like, come get me over here, please. I need your help, please. But like, this is why I got bored, because she goes back to Prince Edward Island. Obviously, she's with Bridget and her brother, but they still haven't told Bridget that they actually like knew each other before they were supposed to know each other. So they're trying to like avoid each other. But Bridget still hasn't said why she like randomly like flew back home to Prince Edward Island when she's about to get married in a week. So like, I want to say several pages, or I'm reading, waiting to see like what is wrong with her, like what happened, like why did she go back, you know, like what happened. But it's constantly like, I'm avoiding him, he's over here, and this attraction is so real for like several pages. Like, it's cool at first, like, ooh, like that attraction, but then like move the story along. Like, no, it just kept the same stuff over and over every chapter. Here he comes, And then the next chapter, I can't resist him, but I can't because Bridget is my best friend, but he's so attractive, but I can't. Over and over again. I'm like, okay, bored, bored, bored. So I don't know if I'll get back into it before the summer is over. I definitely want to read it in the summertime because it's a summer-ish book, but it was too boring for me, girl, so I stopped reading that book. Sorry for this chaotic experience. Oh my god, okay, so let's talk about the book that I just finished reading, Summer Romance, while I like put my groceries away because I just came from Whole Foods. Anyway, this is about to be a little chaotic, but just bear with me here. So, I absolutely loved Summer Romance. It was so freaking good. Like, so good. So good. But, oh my god, now it's coming back to me. There was something that actually made me so mad about that book. Like, the end had me real mad because I was like, why are they tripping? Like, why is she... Let me tell you. So basically, Summer Romance is about Allie and this guy named Ethan, but everyone calls him Scooter at home, whatever. So Allie's mother died 2 years ago, which is very, very sad, you know? And so she's obviously like grieving and depressed. And then her husband, 1 year after her mom died, her husband divorces her on the exact anniversary of the day her mom died. Like, girl, that is so rude. Anyway, she died. Her husband just divorced her, so now she's going through a divorce. On top of the grief she's already feeling because her mom died, right? She has children, you know. She is just like depressed. But then she meets this guy named Ethan. How did she meet him? Oh, she met him because her dog peed on him at the dog park. She took her dog to the dog park and then her dog peed on him, like I just said, and basically like marked his territory, which is so cute. You know, I'm thinking about getting me a dog, but that's off topic. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, the dog pees on him, and then she's like instantly like attracted to him, whatever. But he's also looking at her like, ooh, she's kind of cute too. So she's like surprised. She's like, I have been wearing like sweatpants and like dirty sweatpants for like so long that I need to actually like wear real pants. The one time she wears real pants and takes her dog to the dog park, her dog claims Ethan, right? So then they have this instant attraction. But then turns out Ethan knows people that she knew, but it's not like This Summer Will Be Different at all because they're more mature, they're older, I guess. And so they're handling things differently. And I just love how, while that is the underlying plot of what happened, there are so many life lessons within this story. Like, so Allie was really close to her mom. So even within the story, girl, I'm like, these bananas look bad from the camera. Anyway, so even within the story, it's talking about how Allie still communicates with her mom even though she's dead. It's not like weird though. It's like, I don't know if you ever have experienced this, but when you like was really close with someone who just died, you can kind of still feel their presence and you can kind of still talk to them. So like that was the kind of the vibe that the book was giving. Like she's still feeling her mother's presence and still like receiving advice from her mother, but not in a ghost like kind of way. It's hard to describe that, but it was really well written in that way. The husband who divorced her was Pete. Allie and Pete have 3 kids, and I love Cliffy, the youngest one. He's a little baby. Oh, he's so cute. He's like 6 years old, and he's just giving like 6-year-old energy, you know. But then she has like a teenager who's in 7th grade. Well, she's not a teenager, but she's like, I think she's 13, so maybe she's, I don't know. She's going through like a very hormonal imbalancing thing, and then she has just a younger daughter under her. So like she's going through the dynamic of being a single mom of 3 with a ex-husband named Pete, who's just like the worst. Like he's terrible. This dude is terrible. Like, he treats Allie like she doesn't have plans. Like, the thing is, when Allie started, like, hanging out with Ethan, the guy she met at the dog park, she would come home, and then Pete and the kids would already be at the house before she got there. And then she was like, oh, like, can you tell me what time you're gonna be back so I can know? Like, he's like, well, where are you gonna go? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, surely you don't have plans. Like, look at you. Look at the... And he will always, like, walk in the house and, like, comment on, like, oh, I love what you've done with the place. There's, like, mail piled up everywhere. Like, the sink is full, whatever. And he's just, like, bashing her. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not mad about that because I love her writing, but I'm mad at Pete. Pete, first of all, don't come in here and try to like say anything about anything because you just divorced me. What do you expect, okay? What do you expect? Anyway, I love how Ethan like takes on Allie and her kids. Like he just welcomed all of them in because Ethan has a skate park in the city, so he kind of feels like he has kids too because these kids look up to him for his support and he helps them. And so like he's not just like the single guy who doesn't understand what it's like to have kids rely on you. And I love that dynamic. That was so cool. The thing I didn't like was the ending. I don't think I can really say what happened. I need to clean this. I'm gonna do it later. I don't really think I can say what happened because it's gonna spoil some things for you. But the end made me so annoyed. That really made me mad. I was like, it was almost gonna be a 5-star. But when they did that, I was like, no, 4.5. So here we are. Anyway, I gave that book 4.5 stars. I probably should have said that first. Because of the ending, it would have been a 5-star read. I was like laughing throughout the book. I love the humor in the book. I love the realism within the book. I just love Allie and Ethan's dynamic. I love the way that it was explaining like real life problems within this fictional romance novel. And they were talking about how like a summer romance is like a fling, and then the summer is over and then he goes off or whatever. Like it's a summer romance, right? So does it end happily ever after? I don't know. I guess you have to read to find out. Then I started reading. I still am like slowly putting groceries away, but I started reading this book, Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. Girl, this book is giving cozy. I haven't read that much yet. I'm like basically like 30 or so pages into it, and I can already tell it's gonna be like a warm embrace. So, A Novel Love Story is basically about this girl named Elsie. Elsie is like a huge lover of books. Same, right? All of us probably can relate to that. She feels safe in stories. It's a good escapism for her. So in this story, she is on her way to like her book club's annual retreat. And on her way to the book club, her car breaks down literally in the middle of nowhere. Like her GPS can't even like track where she is. She just like broke down. A huge storm came and now she's like literally in the middle of nowhere. It says this town seems like it's quite out of a novel, because it is. She's in the town from one of her favorite romance series, where the candy store's honey taffy is always sweet, the local bar's burgers are always a little burnt, and rain always comes in the afternoon. It feels like home. It's perfect and perfectly frozen, trapped in the late author's last unfinished story. Elsie is sure that must be why she is here, to help bring the town to its storybook ending. Except there is a character who she can't place. He's a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes, and he does not want her finishing this book. I wonder why. Which is a problem, because Elsie is beginning to think the town's happily ever after just might be intertwined with her own. So far, this seems like it'll be like a pretty quick, easy read. There are 357 pages in this book. I'm on page 30. Okay, so I finished the book like 2 seconds ago. I've been reading it all day. Like imagine your favorite romance book, you being placed in that town and you're seeing all of the characters in that book in real life. That's kind of the setting. But girl, guys, let me tell you, like, I don't know. Let me tell you some things that I did not like about this book. First of all, I gave this book 3.75 stars. It didn't really make sense, you know? Like, yes, it's magical, it's whimsical, but this one character that you cannot place, he's a grumpy bookstore owner. You can't figure out, like, how he's in this story. That part right there, it was annoying how Elsie, as smart as she is, did not figure out who this grumpy bookstore person was. Like, she couldn't figure out his origin. And like everything he was saying and doing, like, it's so obvious that there's this huge elephant that you probably know what I'm trying to say without me saying it, right? How is every character in the book, in that town, you know of, you know everything about them, you see, like, you know, but then this one guy you don't know, what does that tell you? Who do you think he is? That part really annoyed me. I was like, how can you be this smart and be this dumb? Like, all whimsicalness aside, how can you be this slow? I was just like, no way like, how are you so blinded by this? That was like the main thing for me. The main thing is the fact that these two main characters are like dancing around the huge elephant in the room. I mean, I understand what it was trying to do, but I'm like, this is so obvious. How did she not see it? Girl, I don't know. 3.75 stars. Oh, another thing that I didn't like was like how, yes, she got placed into this like town of her favorite romance books or whatever, the series, but like I was so confused about who the characters were, because Ashley Poston was writing about these characters as if we already knew them, because Elsie knew them from her novels. And so they will be talking about these characters like, yeah, Junie came, and like Jake is here, and Thomas is, like, all these names, and I couldn't remember who was who, because we just kept constantly getting introduced to characters, but like they would explain who they were within like one sentence. I just kept getting like, who are they again? Like, wait, who do they like? Wait, what's the connection again? Like, there were so many characters that I should have known, but obviously I wouldn't have known because these are characters from a fictional book that Elsie knew. It's hard to describe. I just had a hard time remembering all these characters, and like they weren't like built up to where I could like place them and know who they were. Ruby and Junie and all these characters, and they kept talking about them over, but like they never really like gave us background of like who they were. But it did come later, but for majority of the book I kept like forgetting who they were, because every scene it would be like a character, oh, that's blah 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 from this part of the book that I love, and then they would like give a quick like, she's dating this person, and then that would be the end of it. And then like a few days later they will be having girls night with all these women at the table, and I don't even remember who each of these women are, but Elsie's like so in love because she knows who they all are. A bunch of characters with no like plot, a bunch of characters with no substance to me as a reader, but a lot of substance to Elsie, who is the main character in this book. I was like confused. I was like, dang, did I miss something? Why do I keep forgetting like, who's this? Who is Ruby dating, and why is like, oh, she's dating Jake, okay. And wait, they have this restaurant together, okay. Elsie is talking as if we already know this stuff because she already knows it, but they didn't give us enough background information. I feel like they could have given us background on these characters, and then we met the characters. That way we have more of a connection of like what's going on, instead of like meeting these characters, she says something that upsets them, and then this character like hates her, but then goes back and be like, oh, I understand. It was just like so confusing. I was like, wait, who are you again? And like, why are you important? Like, wait, okay, so who are you then? Oh, I got y'all mixed up, because there wasn't enough like character building. It was just so strange. Like, I was like, why am I forgetting who these people are? Oh, because you only talked about them in one sentence, and now you keep running into them. I don't know the significance. There are so many characters that you kind of have to remember from another book that you never read. Girl, I don't know, that part had me like, I love like the fact that he was a bookstore owner, so they did spend some time in bookstores talking about like the coziness of it, like reading, and they both love to read. And I love the idea of a book club retreat. They had met like online, and then they decided to like meet up in person and have like a retreat where they just drink cheap wine and talk about their favorite romance books. And I was like, that sounds like my type of vibe. Like, I kind of want to do that too. I don't know, I was mostly annoyed. Like, in the end I was like, let me just get through this book very quickly, because I don't know, it just made me feel uncomfortable, low-key. The overall plot had me just like, no, you know, I see what you're trying to do, but it just didn't execute well enough for me personally. So like, that's my opinion on that. And that's quite unfortunate. So here we are.
I don't wanna fall in love no more. It's just too much. It's just too much. No, I don't wanna hear a word no more. I'm done, but I just can't let go of you. No, I just can't do it. I can't let go of you. No, it's too much. It's just too much. It's just too much.
Yo, so I like to do crazy things on the weekend, and it's not that crazy actually. I went to this new local coffee shop that I had never been to. I love it in there. It's so cute and quaint. The vibe was nice. So many kind of like different people. I just love that vibe. Like, I felt immediately comfortable, even though it was my first time. I mean, I try not to look like a tourist, but I am a tourist, okay? I'm new to all this stuff. Anyway, I started reading Before I Let Go. Y'all were right. Whoever said like, you're gonna like this book, Before I Let Let Go is a good book, all the things. Before I even bought it, I read like the prologue just because I had the time on my hands, and so I knew I liked her writing. I love how she is literally speaking like how we speak, all the way down to like the same slang. I want to get lit or whatever, or saying like yes, like I say that all the time. It's like giving millennial slang, you know. Just like the small vernacular things of like our everyday vernacular is in this book, and I was like, when was this book written? Because it's so up to date. I already know my heart's about to get broken, but I don't know how yet. Like, I just know that this is about to pull at the heart. This is about to pull at my heart. I can just tell. First of all, this is a dual perspective book. I love reading multiple perspective books. Like, that is one of my favorite things. This book is about Yasmin and Josiah, and we get both of their perspectives. Right now, I'm on page 52. I took a pause because it's time for me to go home. I've been sitting in that coffee shop for like 3 hours. Oh my God, I just know that I'm about to love this book. I got this book when I went book shopping in New Orleans, and so now I'm back in Dallas. Anyway, like I already said, this book is about Yasmin and Josiah, and they were married, but now they're divorced. They are co-parenting 2 kids, and they own a thriving business together, but they're divorced. So they're co-owners, co-parenting as a divorced couple. Yasmin wasn't prepared for how her life fell apart, but she's finally starting to find joy again. She and Josiah have found a new rhythm, co-parenting the 2 kids and running a thriving business. But they're like magnets. They're always drawn back to each other. And now they're beginning to wonder if they're truly ready to let go of everything they once had. Soon, one stolen kiss leads to another, and then more. It's hot, it's illicit, it's all good until old wounds reopen. Is it too late for them to find love forever? Or could they even be better the second time around? Girl. So now that I'm like 50 pages into this book, majority of the first half of this book was all like Yasmin's perspective. But I kind of paused in the middle of Josiah because I kind of want to see what he has to say. But also I'm like, I have so many questions and my heart is already hurting. Because I'm like, why did they get a divorce? What happened? And from like page 1, they were talking about how Josiah proposed to her, whatever. But then like it goes to chapter 1 where it's like they're divorced, they're co-owning this business, and she's like with the kids, whatever. And she has a teenage daughter who's 13. Why is it that 13-year-olds are such like, you know, like why are they so mean to their parents? Like why are 13-year-old girls so mean to their mothers? Like I just read a book. What book was it that I was reading that had a 13-year-old daughter, and the daughter was like also kind of like, I think it was Summer Romance. The teenager was such a little I was like, was I like that when I was 13? Were you like that when you were 13? Like, you know, I'm an introvert though. But when I was 13, I was just trying like to not be in the way. I was going through my emotional bit too. I remember being very like, no, like defiant and like knowing who I was. But I was never rude to my parents. You know, if they told me to do something, like I would do it. Like I was saying, why are 13-year-olds such like what is the deal? Like why are they so mean? And then why is there always like a younger brother who's like the absolute sweetheart? That is like the theme of this week's books. Anyway, let's keep going. Why the heck did they get a divorce in the first place? Like what happened? Because you can tell like through the writing of like the first 50 pages that they are not, I don't know if they still are, but they definitely had a very strong attraction to each other. Like it was like true genuine love. And this man, apparently he's like dark and handsome and tall. He's giving Denzel Washington like smooth talking vibes, you know. And like I just kind of love that vibe, how he just seems like the most attractive man. It's talking about how her therapist is telling her to go to yoga. She goes to yoga and she meets these friends. I love that dynamic because, you know, as a person who's new to a different city and state, it really is hard to make friends. But people always say join a gym and like make friends at a gym. This is like so random and off topic, but I was just like, I love when I read about people making like close friends at a gym. Anyway, her therapist recommended yoga to her, and so now she's like doing yoga, trying to like heal her trauma. But I'm like, what happened? You know, like why did they get a divorce? How is the dynamic like working with your ex-husband? Y'all are co-parenting and co-owning a business. And girl, they have this new chef who is low-key flirting with her ex-husband. And I'm like, what? Like, no. She's like touching him and trying to joke with him. I'm like, no, like I don't care. But apparently they've been divorced for 2 years. 2 years. This new chef, who is actually like really good and everybody loves her, is flirting with her ex-husband. How do y'all feel about that? They have been broken up for 2 years. But like, y'all can't have him, you know? Like, girl, no. Ain't no way. So it's giving like jealousy, but she's like, I'm not jealous. I'm like, girl, everyone's like, your husband is so fine. How you have a fine husband? See, this girl obviously want your husband, but you gotta just be like, It's okay. Girl, no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'm like really mad for Yasmin. I'm jealous for her. I feel bad for her. It seems like she went through a lot, but I'm like, what happened? I think it's because this person got... Everything's fine. No one got hurt, right? We're still alive here, thriving. But anyway, that's me in a nutshell. I'll catch y'all later. Oh my God. So like, it's that time of the month for me. And this probably has been the worst week of my life. In regard to pain, girl. Am I new to this? Like, I feel like I have never felt this much pain in my whole life when it comes to that time of the month. Like, Aunt Flo, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Aunt Flo is here. And I'm like... No, you need to go. Like, this pain is not the vibe at all. Like, I'm not a homebody. Like, okay, I am a homebody. I'm not the type to like be in bed. Like, if I'm gonna be at home all day, which I do, I'm gonna be in the living room. I'm gonna be like out walking around. Like, girl, I was in bed like I was dying. I really felt like I was dying. Anyway, I looked like absolute trash, but I'm so glad I went hygiene shopping recently because I'm about to use a lot of those products once I get back to normal. 5 stars. Like, girl, there's no way that this would be any lower of a rating. No, I'm not gonna lie. Towards the end, I was like, what? I'm still reading. But I think like that's like a me problem. Like, I think sometimes I just get a little impatient. Like, I'm so close to the end, but it's still not over yet. And then I start getting impatient. I'm like, okay, wrap it up, you know, like finish. This is a series. That was wild. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that was very wild. There were several times where I kept rereading the same sentences and rereading paragraphs because it hit so hard. And I was like, wait, let me go back and read that again. And then it hit differently, you know? That's how you know, in my opinion, that's how you know it's a good book. Like, I'm rereading things that I already read just so that I could get that message again. Like, that is a good sign. No one could have described to me how the book was gonna go. The realism, like, I just love how real it felt. All the way down to the vernacular, their everyday slang and stuff like that. Like, they're literally talking about all the stuff that we currently talk about, like Fenty Beauty with Rihanna products. And this makes me want to be a chef, low-key. Not really, but it definitely makes me want to get in the kitchen, because one thing that I love that I resonated with is like Yasmin, the main character, she couldn't cook. Yasmin was like, so what do you think? Josiah was like, think about what? And then she was like, grits. And then Josiah was like, baby, please don't make grits again. I'm still recovering from the last time you tried. And it's just so funny. And like, I love how it starts off with like, she can't cook. Yasmin brought me homemade chicken noodle soup when I was so sick it hurt to blink. Tasted like day-old dishwasher. Not sure how you mess up chicken noodle soup, but my girl managed it. I don't know, if you have gone through anything that Yasmin has gone through in regard to like losing people that you love close to you, like people close to you dying, normal grief, and also like being depressed, like depression, or marriage, or divorce, or friendships, new friendships with people that you just met. I'm like, any and everyone can relate to that, because there are so many people in the world that we haven't met yet, and like when you meet them, how's that dynamic? Like, how do y'all open up to each other, you know? Like the friendship, like the womanhood and the bond. And talking about college, you have a daughter who may want to be an influencer, but the mom is like, yeah, but like influencing isn't gonna pay your bills, she needs to go to college. Like, all this stuff is like real, like relatable in my opinion. People who know Kennedy Ryan was raving about me reading this book, like, you should read this book, you're gonna love it, it's so good. And I agree 100%. Like, I literally have nothing bad to say about it. The spice level, spicy. One of the spiciest book I've read since Allie Hazelwood's Love Theoretically. This book was spicy. I was like, I don't know, like, girl, the way she describes certain scenes, I could see it all happening, which is very gross, you know, very spicy scenes, and it was spicy. If you don't like spicy books, girl, you might want to skip over some of these passages in this book, but for the most part, I think the spiciness adds to the love attraction. Like, I think the reason why they were so spicy is trying to convey the message of like their deep bond, their deep love for each other and all this. But then it goes way beyond just physical. So I think that's really good, in my opinion. So anyway, here we are. Don't forget to join our book club if you're interested in reading with us for the month of August and buddy reading and all the cool things like that. Joining the book club is free, but there are different tiers that include different features if you want more access to the book club features. So you can look into it. I'll leave the link below in the description box. And if you're interested, I'll see you in the book club. Bye, y'all.